Hi everyone, I'm John Siegenthaler. Today we're talking about a new book. It's called Why Are There Snowblowers in Miami? Transform your business using the 5 principles of engagement. And the author is Stephen Goldstein. Welcome, Steve.
Thanks, John. Good to be here.
In your book, one of the key principles is connecting. So why is connecting so important?
If you take a store like the Gap, and I'll just pick that as an example, but it could be anybody. The number of levels between the CEO of the Gap and the part-time sales clerk in the store is about 20, which in itself is kind of interesting. But more interesting is the fact that the only one who's actually interacting with the customer is this part-time sales clerk, who, by the way, works less than 30 hours a week because they don't want to pay her benefits, healthcare benefits. Her schedule changes every week to suit the needs of the company, not her. And she's the one who has to put up with customers. And she's the one who finds out what they like and what they don't like. That person is very unhappy, generally speaking. The CEO of the company is totally clueless as to what is actually going on in the store.
Doesn't he get reports?
He does get reports. He gets more reports than you could shake a stick at. But the reports tend to be more financial in nature.
Steve, you describe an interesting experience when working for a company over in London. Talk to me about that.
So I was sent over, I was working for American Express at the time, and I was sent over to run our business over there. And I was brought in to basically turn it around. We had lost our way to some extent. And I think it was the third day I was there, and I always get into the office early, so it was about 7:30 in the morning. And I felt this presence come into the room, and I looked up, and it was a window washer. Out of Central Casting, a little guy with blue coveralls with one down and the newspaper rolled up and with a cigarette hanging out of his mouth and a bucket and a squeegee and a pole. And I started talking to him. And he was shocked that I would talk to him. And he said a couple of things. He said one thing to me that struck me. He said, "Are you the new governor?" And I said, "Yes, I'm the new governor." He says, "No, governor." I said, "Yes, I'm the new governor." He said, "Well, that's good." I said, "Why is that good?" He says, "Because the previous one was a bad guy." And my eyes lit up. I'm thinking, what is going on here? I invited him to have a cup of coffee with me. So we went into the kitchen. We came back and had coffee. We spent an hour together. I subsequently learned this guy had not gone beyond the 3rd grade. But he had such an innate instinctual sense of what was going on in this company. It was frightening. He had a completely different vocabulary. He didn't understand business per se, but he went around the office and told me about each of the people. And I was just flabbergasted. So I developed a relationship with him. We had coffee every few months. He took me out to his pub to meet his buddies. We invited him to the Christmas party. And the funny thing was my team, who were all, British businessmen and women, wanted to know why was this crazy American
talking,
going out with the window washer. And, that in itself was kind of interesting. But I will tell you that I can't imagine how I would have done as much so quickly in that assignment, but for the insight he gave me.
It sounds a little bit like that TV show where the boss goes undercover.
I hate that show. It's very successful, by the way, and I think it's been on the air for 9 or 10 seasons. It started actually in London. And the fact that a CEO has to dress up in a wig and a costume and go into his company incognito to find out what's going on in his business, and then is shocked to find out what his people are experiencing, the good, the bad, and the ugly, that's a complete lack of disengagement. And the fact that the show is so successful, I think, is very telling, to what we're talking about. My point is you don't need a disguise. Just go in as yourself, and people will love to see you come in.
If you want to learn more about the book, you can go to StephenDGoldstein.com, and of course, it is available on Amazon.